today we're going to be working on Boog's holes. What I mean by Boog's holes is the holes in his training. So on a loose line, about a 10 or 15 foot line, most of the time he's loose, but a lot of the time he drags me all over. He's tight on the rein, even in the round pin. So we're back working in this small little circle area, trying to get him loose on the line. Once he's loose here, we'll move back into the round pin and so on and so forth. So I don't think you guys can see it, but right here where the roof of this barn is, there's a gap between this fencing and this fencing. So he can go in and out of the barn because this is where his water is. His water troughs are over here. I know you guys can't see it from up here, but he's got two giant water troughs over here. So he's got a couple holes. One is his feet, working on it. One is lowering his head, working on it. And the third and fourth are kind of similar. The third is him pulling against the rein and kind of dragging when he's lunging. And the fourth is him going through this entrance whenever he doesn't want to continue to work. So I lunge him in this area until he drops his head and relaxes for at least a panel's length. The reason I say a panel's length, we started off for a couple steps and now we're kind of adding more and more. Sometimes he'll go 2 or 3 circles with his head down and we'll change direction. I do a lot of changing direction. If you guys watched him in the beginning compared to now, he's a lot better at changing direction. I kind of just have to step back or step in at an angle and he'll change most of the time. Sometimes he still tests me. So somebody might say, well, why don't you put a panel or a string up in that gap? Because that just hides the hole. And then when we get to a bigger section, he's going to move out. He's not going to pay attention and he's still going to drag out. With me working on this and working on him trying to go through when I'm trying to work him, he's going to learn it's not the correct answer. So what I do is I try to stand at the side as much as I can and get him to go forward. And if he doesn't, I'll back him up, pop him on the butt, and then make him come back in. So I'm going to go grab him. We're going to work on lowering his head for a minute. And I'll explain to you the way I lower his head because I'm short, so I can only hold my arms up so high. So right here's where the gap is. It's this whole thing right here. So I'm not sure why he's flinchy right now. If you guys see when I went to grab him, I don't know if you could see or not. I leved up to him and he just kind of took off running. He doesn't normally do that, but I don't normally take him away from his food either. So you'll see all the burrs on him. I'll work on picking those off later. He just came back in from the field. Not going to really worry about him too much. I'll pick out some right now, especially the ones where the halter is going to be. So since I am so short, the way I work on lowering his head, it's kind of different from everybody else. But I use my halter, or my lead rope. I put my halter like I'm going to put it on him normally, and then, see, he already lowered his head. But what I do is I apply pressure, you guys can see, and I pull down. And I kind of hold the rope up, like the rest of the halter like this. Since I'm so short, I can't keep my hand up. Yeah. And I'll just continue to pull behind the ears until he drops his head, and then I'll release. Pull, release. Pull, release. So he doesn't keep his head down yet, but we're getting there. Pull his head down. Good boy. He doesn't necessarily always keep his head down, but we're getting there. Now the burrs all come out after the video. I don't want you guys to sit there and watch me comb out burrs. So I'm not sure if I'm going to work with his feet yet today. I might just work on his hole with trying to go through the fences to get back to his food. He's going to have more of a jaw now, so it's even more important for him to pay attention to me. I don't know if you guys can see the whole area. Now you guys can't see the water troughs, which are behind this big board. Sorry. I'm gonna move this rock. I have a rock holding my phone up. Oops. About now you can see his water trough. I think that's as good as it's gonna get. Sorry guys. So, I'm just gonna lunge him until he relaxes. Once he relaxes, we'll do something else. Probably go the other direction until he relaxes that way. So I'll explain real quick. The reason I'm only doing trot is because at the walk he's really good. The canter he's horrible, so I want to get more control of the trot before I move to the canter. Besides that, trot builds up their back quite a bit and their leg muscles. There's something else I was going to say and I already forgot. Oh, the reason I'm doing a lot of changes in directions is I find he relaxes faster when I do that. So with a lot of changing of direction, he'll lower his head faster, and that's what I'm looking for, is a low head. And you'll notice if I speed up my body, he kind of picks up a faster pace, but as soon as I drop my energy, he drops. If you guys remember the older videos, it was a pain in the ass to get him to turn. It was a pain in the ass to get him to kind of pay attention to the speed. And it just took consistency. Consistency is key, especially with a horse that's been abused. I think I actually found a better spot for you guys to sit. I'm going to pause you and move ya. Okay, I know there's fence panels in the way, but you guys can see the whole thing now. I gotta climb down. Had to restart it. This phone. having so many issues today. Okay, let me get the horse. Come on, Boog. It's not time to eat. Hopefully you can see that better. So you'll see in certain parts he's really tight on the rein, and other parts it's extremely loose. You'll see when he changes directions, sometimes he rushes, sometimes he comes way too, right there, he came way too far in. So I'll kind of get after him. You'll see me do lots of change of direction here, just to kind of work on it. I don't want him necessarily coming completely in. Some people are into that, I am not. Right there, you see he kind of leaned out towards the gap. But in this video, he actually doesn't go through the gap for the first time in like 2 weeks of working with him. Of course, the one time I filmed, right? Asked him to keep going. He has a tendency to stop or slow down to a walk without me asking him to. And like I said, I'm doing a lot of trot to build him up. Right there, he came in too close, so I kind of swung the rope and gave him a little tap on the butt and said, nope. Right there, I kind of bumped and said, hey, give me your nose. Ask him to change, came in a little too close. And let me know which position you guys like better, the first one I had or this one. Get out. Ask him to change, he did. A little close, a little quick. The reason I'm not correcting the canter change is because eventually we are going to move into the canter and he's going to need to keep his pace. So it's kind of like a little pick of what you want to battle with. Ask him to change because he got tight. He's got kind of a quick trot, but I'm asking him to change. He came in too close. I'm wanting him to slow down. If you see, my body has slowed down, so he needs to slow down. There, he slows down just a bit. Ask him to change. He got too close, so I swung it by his eye. Right there, I asked him to turn his nose in, and he said, no, screw you, I'm not going to, so I backed him up and asked him to go forward again. I was just wanting his nose to tip in a little bit, and he kind of braced against it more, so that's why I got after him. Now there, he got a little close, so I just stuck the rope up, and he said, okay, I'll go back out. Right there, I'm asking him to change the whole time, and he said no, and just continued going that way. That's why I pulled, and then swung, and made him go right away. There, I just kind of worked with him again to see if he would change if I asked. That's what I'm doing right here. Making sure he's going to change when I ask. I'm wanting them to keep the pace, but kind of think about it and not just rush through it and not overreact. That was better. He's a little close, but it wasn't as rushed. That was really good. There, I kind of made him stop. Here, that's what I'm doing. I'm kind of making him stop and then turn to kind of think about not coming in and just turning there. That was a better change. He still came in a bit, but I didn't have to move my body as much. There he kind of tugged through me, so I kind of yanked and then swung. So we go back here and do some more changes of direction again. Get his mind on me. Get his mind on paying attention. When you change your direction a lot, they start to pay attention and relax more because they don't want to get in trouble. They want to pay attention, get their turns, so they can continue to go. So, yeah. I'm not sure if I explained that right, but that's the concept. Waiting for his head to lower. You can see his pace slow, and that was a better turn. He stayed out. You see his pace drop from earlier. He finally figured out. So that's what you can do. If your horse is kind of speeding through you, get in a smaller area and do a ton of changes of directions and send him off. Then do a ton more change of direction and send him off the other way. There, I just wanted him to stand. He kind of said no. So I just made him continue the way that I wanted. There he lowered his head. There he lowered again. There again. So I change. Normally he keeps it a lot lower, like almost touching the ground. But I'm going to go with anything. Right now he's got hay right under where the camera is, so he's a little focused on that. Now this side takes a little longer. He kind of bobs his head up and down, but he doesn't keep it down as for a couple of steps like I'd like. So we continue to work on this side for quite a while. Got a very nice trot. There, I didn't ask him to slow down. So I whacked my leg with the rope and said, come on. Asked him to change. He came in a little, but he was against the fence, so I'm not going to really blame him. I'm not going to fight with him every single time he comes in super close. It's just when he kind of barrels through super close. I'm actually really surprised. There's head down. There's heads down. I'm surprised the one time I film he doesn't go through the gap and drag me. It's like he's like, oh, she's filming, I gotta be good. There he lowers, really nice. So I changed direction to kind of give him the right answer. And what I mean by that is he knows on this side to relax because he's already relaxed on this side, so you can see his head going down. So then when he relaxes quite a few times, I'll take him the other way. And he kind of figures out, oh, she wants me to relax on this side. It takes him a little bit, but he gets it. There are a few times he stops and slows down to a walk all on his own that I get after him. And there's a couple of times that he just completely stops. So I just get after him a little bit, swing the rope, kind of tap him on the butt, give him his cue to go. He's still learning his cues. There, it went down a little. And a little there, and a little there, and a little there, and then he just stopped. So I kind of get after him, he backs up since I don't have to, so I just continue with the pressure until he goes again. You can kind of, if you watch the rope, you can see right there by that gap. And between the gap and the water troughs going this direction, he gets really tight on that rein. Sometimes, not all the time. So that's why I'm working in a small area. When I get better control where he's not pulling at all, where he's giving his nose really nicely, we'll go to the round pen with a longer line. After that, we'll go back out in the field like we were. So he wasn't really giving me any more relax, so I kind of just went back to changing directions. Because he got it before he stopped. But I don't want him to think you relax and then you get to stop all on your own. So that's, again, picking and choosing what you want to correct. What's a big deal to you, what's not. The reason I think it's important to correct that is if you're riding them and they relax, you don't want to be at a relaxed canter and then they do a dead halt. Not saying that they 1000% would, but you never know. There, he lowered his head. There again, he lowered. There, he lowered. There, he lowered. There, he lowered. Good boy. So he does trip here and there. That's because he's taken off so fast that he's dug up some rocks. So I'm going to have to rake those out. And here I come to grab the camera and talk to you guys. Okay. So I'm going to attempt to do a voiceover. Not sure if it's going to work. But I'm going to kind of summarize. So the few times that he stopped or slowed down without me asking, I kind of just kept swinging the rope and got after him a bit. There's a few times he kept the rope tight. He mostly kept it loose. I'm actually pretty proud of him. This is the first time I've worked him in that area. He didn't try to go through the gap. Last night, he was trying to go through the gap for like 15 minutes straight. So we fought with that. I forgot what else I was going to say. One way we went more than the other. That's because he wasn't showing any signs of softening until just now when we ended. And then the other way, you notice he softened kind of right away after a few minutes. So just going back and forth. We're working on him turning. He has a habit of rushing through the turn and coming in too close to you and then switching his tail at you because he doesn't like his hind end touch. So when you kind of fling the rope at his hind end to get him out, he kind of flings his tail like, hey, don't touch me there. So I'm going to try and do a voiceover, but if I didn't, I hope this explains it. He's starting to sweat just a little bit. We just do this every night, or I'll do it before a workout to make sure he's quiet and calm before. So I hope you guys enjoyed day 21, I think it is. And thank you to the new subscriber, whoever you are. If you guys have any questions, I'd love to do a Q&A. Go ahead and leave them down below. Bye, guys.